Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be, again, about Gabbie Hanna. Mainly, it's going to be about Joey Graceffa's response video to Gabbie Hanna's Escape the Nightmare video, and also about Gabbie's video in response to Trisha Paytas, like, constantly harassing her. So, like, yeah, this is going to be one tea-filled video. But before we get into it, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I post new videos every single day. Also, I'm doing a giveaway. Check out this video if you're interested. So, Joey Graceffa posted this video called Gabbie Hanna Needs to Stop in response to Gabbie's video that was called Escape the Nightmare, which is hilarious because then Joey was like, spoiler alert, Gabbie was actually the nightmare. By the way, if none of this makes sense to you, it's because you missed out part one of the video, which was Gabbie's initial video in regards to Joey Graceffa. So make sure you watch that video first. This is not gonna make sense otherwise. Before we get into the tea, can we talk about how gorgeous Joey looks? Fun fact, I used to have a crush on him when I was like 16. This was way before he came out, but everyone would be like, he's so obviously gay, and I was so in denial. Okay, whatever, back to the video. Joey says that he and Gabbie were indeed close friends, but when she acts like the victim and says all my friends were fake and all that, it's her fault.
You do things, Gabbie, to make people not be your friends. What you did to me on Escape the Night is the reason we are no longer friends, and the reason why I talked badly about you being on Escape the Night.
He says that just because they were friends at some point, it doesn't mean that he could never speak out about what happened on set, which I totally agree with. He tells Gabbie to learn from Colleen because she had a baby just months prior to shooting and still endured the long hours while breastfeeding without ever complaining.
But Colleen didn't complain once, and she was my #1 supporter, making me feel good about things and helping me de-stress and telling me that everything was going to be okay.
Meanwhile, Gabbie, who was also Joey's friend, was not only not making his job any easier, but she was specifically making it a living hell.
By being disrespectful and rude, mean and foul to not only cast, but crew, screaming at the director, demanding things, and calling a production assistant a dumb cunt is not how you act on set of one of your friends, not even just your friend, any set.
At the start of the video, Joey said he had receipts, but at this point, he says his main receipts were the people who were there. So he thanks Rosanna and everyone else who spoke out in defense of Joey on Twitter, although he's trying to figure out how to get the footage that never aired, so that'll be interesting if that comes out. Joey brings up the fact that Gabbie kept saying that Joey was the one who started all of this drama. Joey was like, he would get asked about season 4 during interviews and he couldn't lie about it, right?
And I was honest, I said it was awful because one person in particular was awful and made it awful, but I never once said your name, Gabbie.
And only one out of all 4 seasons someone like had an issue with dying.
Oh, there was one in season 4 too.
Really?
Sure. Yeah, that was season 4 was my least favorite to film by far.
Why?
Just because
Drama.
of this one person on the cast who just made it hell.
Really? And how do you stay out of like not talking about drama? You never talk about things. I would call people out left, right, and center.
No, honestly, I could have, and I could have like exposed a lot of receipts, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just guess I don't put out that energy.
People were able to figure out who it was based off your past actions. It wasn't hard for people to connect the dots because you've set the standard of who you are online.
Although I remember watching that episode and my stupid ass couldn't tell who it was, so I just had to check the comments and then I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. In my defense, I never watched Escape the Night. He also mentions the part where Gabbie said Joey and Daniel insisted she join the show. He said he never begged or pleaded for her to join, and in fact, he was the one doing her a favor.
Yes, I wanted her to be in it because she was my friend at the time. She was going through a lot of shit. A lot of people did not like her, still don't like her. And as a supportive friend, I wanted to give her this opportunity to be on a show that has thousands of fans and the opportunity to be on this platform that has like a Billboard and a lot of respect towards it.
This part I don't 100% believe. I think Gabbie's involvement would have made the show more interesting and a lot of more people interested. So don't act like you did this all for Gabbie, but you know, it might be partially correct. Who knows?
I'm sorry that I was being a good friend and inviting you to be a part of something bigger, but go ahead, live in your delusional world. I'm sure it's comfy there for you.
I love this though, not gonna lie. I've never seen Joey be so outright savage. He also brings up the ADHD thing, saying that half the cast has ADHD and they never acted like that. Although ADHD does differ greatly in severity and the symptoms, so take that into consideration. Moving on to the food thing, Joey says Gabbie did not fill out the dietary restrictions form until the day that they were on set.
Miss Gabbie, can we do a little BTS? Moment? How is she? Look at, she's got her yellow hair on.
We're doing
She's practicing her script.
filling out my medical information.
It's just insane to me that with food being such a big deal for Gabbie, she didn't even bother to fill in the form on time. Like, girl, if that's such an important factor for you, you should have been more diligent with it. Joey also takes a minute to defend Daniel, who went above and beyond for everyone on set, including Gabbie.
He had a million things going on, and yet he still managed to go to Whole Foods and get you your 3 healthy meals that were so specific, and yet you still didn't even eat them. You literally just left them out to rot.
Then he talks about the wardrobe. He says that Gabbie approved her costume during the first fitting and actually loved it.
The issue is, Gabbie, you had 2 more fittings after we made you this custom look that you just didn't show up for.
They even had their costume designer, who was 9 months pregnant by the way, drive all the way across town to Gabbie's music studio only to get stood up. Ridiculous. He said things took a turn when Gabbie refused to come back on set after day 2. After wrapping up production at 4 a.m., the PA tells everyone the call time for the next day, only to get cussed out by Gabbie, and then she refused to show up, so they of course had to tell her manager because she was under a contract, so she can't just not show up to work. What the fuck?
Her manager was extremely apologetic and was basically saying that he was going to drop her after this. Like, it was extremely unprofessional, and he's had so many issues with her.
So she ended up showing up the next day, obviously. She had to, but Joey and the director were already figuring out how to kill her off because they couldn't just have that negativity on set.
So we planned the double death, which a lot of people were upset about, but now you know the real reason why there was a double death.
He spoke with Gabbie the next day. Gabbie started complaining to him and playing the victim like always. Joey was in producer headspace and just wanted everything to go by peacefully, so he was really nice to her.
Nodding my head like, yeah girl, don't worry, everything's fine, like we're good. But in my head I'm like, this girl is screwing me over.
This is the part where I mainly had a problem with when Gabbie explained it. Like, Joey and Daniel were making it seem like everything was okay and they were perfectly fine, but in reality, Joey was actually not okay with her and had hard feelings. But Joey says that he's proud of the way he handled things because he could have gone really hard on her, but he also didn't want her randomly walking off before wrapping up her part.
I had to do what I had to do to protect me and protect the show. You're pretty unstable and I don't know what to expect from you, so I'd rather pretend that we're good than actually deal with the craziness that you bring. You're scary.
In response to Gabbie complaining about set hours, Joey says that's just how production works and that she was getting paid thousands of dollars to sit around in a makeup room.
Sounds like a really hard gig, Gabbie, to just have to do nothing but get paid thousands of dollars.
You know what I'm now just realizing is that Trisha Paytas and Gabbie Hanna are exactly the same person. Well, Gabbie's a slightly better version, but didn't Trisha also sabotage herself when she was on Big Brother? Like, what the fuck is up with these YouTubers and not being able to work with other people? He said once she finally left the show, everything was completely different. Everything changed and went so smoothly and perfectly. Then he shares a story about a week after they finished the show when they had to do the promo shoots, and even though Gabbie was contractually obligated to show up, she was complaining about having a gym appointment that she couldn't miss.
So she was trying to basically be on set as least amount of time as possible, and she kind of was just thinking like, oh, I can just get my makeup done, shoot out, and go. But that's not how it works. She's just so entitled to feel like her time is more valuable than others.
Now on to Gabbie's video on Trisha Paytas. In true Gabbie Hanna series fashion, she did not say a single thing about the topic of the video in the first 20 minutes. Then she finally gets to the Trisha shit. Gabbie says that Trisha was the one who made the beef public. In her Why Don't Trust Gabbie Hanna video, she says Trisha lied about and gaslit Gabbie a lot, and so Gabbie brought Trisha on her podcast because she wanted it all to be over. She said, the reason I'm doing this is because after speaking personally with Trish, both on and off camera for her episode of Burnout, I thought her harassment and slander would end. The day the podcast went up, she immediately made 2 videos doubling down on lies and furthering this weird narrative that I'm harassing, stalking, and obsessed with her.
We even addressed this, I don't know if this was also in the podcast, about her telling Keemstar and Drama like the summer that I called her and I didn't. She goes, yes, you did. Oh, she still thinks that I called her in the summer and we're not friends and we weren't friends. Gabbie's not my friend. And on that note, we weren't friends. I just gotta be a lot more clear with this. The only way I relate to this is like, I thought sometimes I was dating people I wasn't dating. The reason I made the video is because she put my name out on the Instagram story first. She vehemently up and down denied that that happened. And I was like, no, I know, because that's why I made the video. I did not want to make a video, but then I saw that you put my name. Like, I know that happened. Back on that point of how she was like, I never said your name first, you made the video. And I'm like, Gabbie, like, on the note of her saying like, I never put those text messages out first with your name, and if you did, so she did send me a cut of the video. She could send me the edit, and that was really cool for her. Gabbie was very nice. The whole point of me going on this podcast was because I kind of like to squash things. In my head, we really did squash it, and I do think Gabbie is a really nice person, but she did send me the edit. I did get the approval. She is very nice. She was like, that first hour and a half we were there, I was like, this is nice.
Gabbie said that she had told Trisha her goal with the podcast episode. She wanted to squash the beef and move forward. She never wanted it to be about two women being petty. And that's why she cut out the fight clip between Gabbie and Trisha, which I made a video on, so check it out if you haven't seen it already.
I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I don't think that I'm going to be including most of just like the drama between us, just because I really wanted this to be about moving forward and leaving that stuff behind.
By the way, this is what Trisha sent Gabbie after the podcast. She was like, "Thanks for having me. I enjoyed our off-camera conversations the most. You've gone through some intense shit that I can't even fathom. So just know sometimes you are the victim and the internet doesn't matter, and I'm glad you have peace, stability, and happiness in your life right now. You really can text or call me anytime. I know we don't see eye to eye on most things, but I have a ton of compassion and I do admire you speaking what matters. I respect your realness. It's rare in the world to fake. Excited to see the pod. Have a great night." You guys won't believe what happens next. Like, Gabbie says, "That means a lot to me," and all these nice things. Like, they're on good terms. But what the fuck? Is this bitch serious? Why be so fake if you're gonna go ahead and make 2 videos shitting on her? Also, here's a screenshot of Trisha approving the podcast go live. She literally sent her the podcast after cutting out the clips that she wanted out and was like, "Hey, if you want any clips that you want out, go ahead and let me know." Trisha was like, "I'm sure it's fine. I just want to make sure there's nothing ox that would cause more drama either." But then she was like, "It's good to go. Thank you for sending it to me. Honestly, as long as we're good, it's whatever." So like, Trisha completely approved of the episode. She watched it before it went live. But wait a minute, didn't Trisha later blame Gabbie for painting a false narrative on the podcast? Then why didn't you just say something when Gabbie asked you about it, Trisha?
And then she put up 2 videos calling me a liar, saying that you didn't know me and that we weren't friends. Trisha, the pieces that I edited out were for you, and you know that. I edited out all the places where I was literally confronting you with like the evidence of shit, and you were like getting super defensive and weird about it and lying to my face.
This I agree with. I know everyone on my last video was kind of mad at me because I sounded like a Gabbie stan. I promise you I'm not on her payroll, but it's hard to argue with logic. The clips that Gabbie cut out really did make Trisha look bad, unless there are even more clips that Gabbie cut out that she didn't show at all. She did Trisha a huge favor by cutting those parts out. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my video on the fight between Gabbie and Trisha, but here is a short clip from the cutout parts.
Dude,
Because you're a character online that I talk about, Gabbie.
but I'm not a character, I'm a human being.
Gabbie, I never met you before this.
Yes, you have.
Oh my
Multiple
God.
times. You literally tweeted, "Every time I hang out with Gabbie, we never get a selfie and it upsets me."
We've never hung out.
Why did you tweet that then?
Gabbie, please bring it up right now. Like, I can't do this anymore. This is like insane. This is so insane.
November 22nd, 2016, buying a VIP ticket to your show. Yes, yes, yes. November 19th, 2016, my obsession with the Gabbie show has been so unreal. I don't even understand. She's the most amazing thing on YouTube right now. May 10th, 2017, every time me and the Gabbie show are together, we never get selfies. It makes me extremely depressed.
This is like, but this is like this is a delusion.
Okay.
You're gonna believe what you want to believe, Gabbie, and I
Trisha, it's
can't.
not about believing what I want to believe. It's about like texts and like
Okay.
videos.
If that is your reality, it can be your reality. Like, I literally, like, it's fine.
Like, I was cutting out shit where you were being toxic as hell.
It's also ironic that Trisha's created this narrative that Gabbie's obsessed with her when Trisha literally sent this text to Gabbie being like, "I love you, I'm like your stalker." Like, Trisha, why go out of your way to make Gabbie think you like her when you actually fucking hate her guts? I just don't understand you sometimes. And by sometimes, I mean all the time.
Trisha, listen, I'm totally willing to concede to you that you did not care about our friendship and that it did not mean anything to you. But I've also come to realize you have a very weird, skewed perception of what friendship is. Like, you literally said Ethan and Hila weren't your friends.
I don't know if I call them my friends. They're very nice. They are very nice and they do check up on me and stuff like that, but it's not like...
Here's my theory about Trisha, and I know this because I'm kind of like this too. I think Trisha has this huge fear of rejection, so she always tends to underestimate the strength of her relationships with people, so she doesn't feel rejected if she finds out the other person doesn't feel the same way. Or if something goes wrong, she doesn't get as heartbroken, you know? Gabbie also shows these texts, which is in double speed, by the way, but these are the texts that she and Trisha have shared over the years, and I'm just gonna let it play for you guys, just so you can see how much these two people texted. I don't even text this much with my actual friends. Like, how can Trisha say that not only were they not friends, but she never actually liked Gabbie? Also, Trisha was one of the very few people in Gabbie's life who texted her about the rice gum situation, which I actually appreciate very much. Like, that's very sweet of her. But then she goes on Gabbie's podcast saying that she doesn't know much about the rice gum situation. Like, bitch.
I had heard about it and I just thought it was like an online, because I mentioned it once and I was like, oh, and the rap battle sucked. I didn't even know what it was. I had no idea what you did. I didn't know it was that. That's fucking weird. I thought you guys were like went back and forth with like a rap or something else.
But she was the one texting me being like, you need to go to the police.
About this Gabbie show Riscom situation, like holy shit. You guys, Gabbie is, without a doubt, the sweetest, like nicest, like non-confrontational person like I've ever known and met. She's just so lovely, tries to stay out of drama, just tries to be nice. And it's crazy, I saw the snap and like holy shit. No matter if you are pushing their buttons to the extreme, like don't fucking touch people.
Another crazy random lie from Trisha is her telling Gabbie that she's never watched her videos before when she has literally told her multiple times that she loves her videos. Like what the f, Trisha, which is it?
As soon as I started like getting on the I Hate Gabbie train, I became like obsessed. I never watched any of her vlogs. I think it was like a hate watch thing. For me, it got me interested in you. You know, when people were like talking about you, because I like never watched a video before that. I was like,
I said this once, I'll say it again. Trisha is a pathological liar and she needs help because this is not okay.
But what's f***ed up is when people called you out for those tweets, you went back and deleted them. That is so like for real manipulative. That's gaslighting. That's narcissistic abuse.
Oh, and then Trisha made this alleged lie up that Gabbie went up to her house.
Been harassing Gabbie Hanna and bullying Gabbie Hanna for how long? And now you're going out and saying Team's gonna be responsible if Gabbie Hanna does something to me. Gabbie Hanna is gonna like break in your apartment and beat you up. You're just saying that dumb shit to harass Gabbie Hanna more.
You asked David and Jason about the security footage. Like, where's yours?
all this crazy stuff that I showed up to his house, I've never done that. I was like, there would be camera footage.
You said that I'm a stalker. Huh? You told people you were afraid of me and that I was harassing you.
I actually never dealt with an actual psychopath. And I'm not saying that lightly, and I'm not, this is a psychopath. Like, look up the definition of a psychopath.
Gabbie is gross and she's a scary, scary, scary individual. Scary.
She's obsessive. Obsessive, even before I met her.
Gabbie, you are a monster.
You're scary, obsessive, and obviously delusional.
You are the scariest.
So insane.
She is an actual, like, evil person.
You're a psychopath. You're a psychopath. You're crazy obsessive with me. It's scary.
Bitch, scariest monster on the internet.
Gabbie, you are scary and dangerous. This is scary and dangerous.
Crackhead monster making up shit out of literally thin air.
I've actually never been, like, I get why people don't talk about her because it's scary.
24-hour security outside my house with your f***ing picture.
I'm scared for my life, you dumb son of a bitch.
Because your obsession with me is weird. You're scary, leave me the f alone, texting me and harassing me. I'm literally looking to move because we're close to each other. I just don't even want to even see you or breathe your essence because you're fucking, you're a psycho. And I'm more scared of anyone hurting me than you. Bitch, get some help.
Terrifying.
You are a f***ing crackhead. Actual evil scum of the internet.
Like, what?
This is Trisha's word against Gabbie's, but I guess you can decide for yourself who you trust more. Although if you still trust Trisha more, I really do doubt your intelligence. Trisha Paytas is the absolute queen of projecting. You're scaring us. Also, apparently Jason Nash accused Trisha of harassing and stalking him for no reason, which Gabbie says is exactly what Trisha is now doing to her.
First of all, if they're going to accuse you of harassing and stalking them, there's literally no paper trail that. There's no restraining order, right?
They tried to say that I was like, I was violent towards David. I'm like, all this crazy stuff that I showed up to his house, I've never done that. I was like,
Gabbie says that what Trisha did to her over the years and the constant abuse made her suicidal.
Literally dancing to me having a mental breakdown? Are you you're f***ing sick for that, and you know it.
But Gabbie, don't you also mock people with mental illnesses on your TikTok? Like, you can't have it both ways, hun. You can't be a troll who doesn't care about anything and then simultaneously criticize others for doing the exact same thing. Then she moves on to talk about how much Trisha copies her in terms of clothing, copying her cleaning series, writing a poetry book after she did, and even copying her music video.
I wish I would have seen this sooner because I would have handled the situation a lot differently. This is disturbing, but I'm the obsessed one, right? This is clearly not a parody because when Trisha does parody, she does parody. There's no mention of me or my Shut Me Up video anywhere in it. She's just copying me. You're so scared of me because I'm so obsessed with you, but you took my video to a director to rip off and then practice my moves in your mirror. At the bare minimum, this is plagiarism.
And then she talks about the herpes thing. Of course, how can it be a Trisha versus Gabbie video without that being brought up?
If you find out that somebody your friend or loved one is sleeping with could potentially have a life-threatening or incurable disease, tell them. Because then you're withholding important information to somebody that could save their life.
Guys, I really do want to know what you think about this. Don't you think that Jason would have been extremely grateful to Gabbie if Trisha actually did end up having herpes? I don't know, man. Food for thought. Also, another lie that Trisha got exposed for, before she ever met Jason, she literally texted Gabbie being like the only people she knew on the Vlog Squad Billboard were her and Jason. But then when she and Jason started dating, she pretended to never have known him, which weirded Gabbie right out. So why would she think that Trisha would be truthful about not having herpes? Right?
So when I found out you had unprotected with him, I was like, heads up, because you were telling him you didn't know who he was, and you did. And that's f***ed up, dude.
You guys, I kind of see her side here, because we're talking about a pathological liar. Who knows what kind of STDs this has? She's a liar. Also, Trisha knew that Shane was the one who told Gabbie that Trisha has herpes. So why did Trisha go so hard on Gabbie but not Shane?
I think I brought your name up because, like, obviously that's what I heard it from Dustin, like, I don't know, 6 months ago. And then when I brought it up to Shane, he did say, well, I don't remember telling Gabbie. Not like I never tell Gabbie, like, I don't remember. And I was like, why would you even say it?
Another random lie from Trisha is that she would keep saying that Gabbie asked her to go out to Trisha's birthday, but she literally invited her.
Asked to come to my birthday party, and I said yes.
I just remember being like, you're like, oh, you're having a party, like, that's what, and I sent you the invite, of course, but I don't remember.
But I didn't even like ask you about the party. You just sent me the invite.
Then they exchanged these texts about the herpes thing. Trisha was like, if I'm being honest with you, you told Jason I had herpes, and that because we had sex, I had herpes. That is the reason I don't respond, way before we even started dating. I don't have herpes. If I did, I'd be an open book about it. And if I did, it's also no one's business but mine and my partner's. Gabbie goes, first of all, I didn't tell Jason you had herpes. I told him a very close person to you told me you did. And I told him to make sure he's safe, which is what a good friend would do. If you found out your friend was having unprotected sex with someone who you've been told has herpes, you would tell him to be safe. I didn't pull that info out of my ass. It was brought to me and I care about Jason and all my friends. So they weren't on good terms, but then out of nowhere, Trisha sings Gabbie's song on her story.
I you were from the start. I just hope you prove me wrong. This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. It's genius.
And then they exchanged texts and everything was fine, so Gabbie figured Trisha just accepted her apology. Gabbie talks about how Trisha randomly would just be like, I feel like you don't like me for no reason, even though Gabbie had been so overtly nice to her, and that she did the same thing to Ela Klein.
I think the problem is maybe that Trisha does think that Ela doesn't like her, which isn't true.
This isn't me being high and mighty and snobby and I don't know whatever she's saying about me. She was saying like, I'm too good for the show. It's like, I've told her that I'm personally a fan of this show. I don't know, it's like there's just no winning.
Gabbie says Trisha wants Gabbie to be mean to her because she doesn't know how to be nice herself, but I think it's just because Trisha's insecure about how people feel about her. Gabbie also wants to make it clear that she doesn't want to be friends with Trisha, she just wants to be left alone. Also, apparently Trisha was telling everyone that Gabbie begged to write a song for her, and Daniel Preda also told Gabbie this. They exchanged these texts. She's a pathological liar and definitely in an awful light online right now. Just choose carefully, I don't want her making a video on you or something wild. Oh my god, Daniel and I have the same theory about her being a pathological liar. And Gabbie DiMartino said the exact same thing. Apparently Trisha was literally going around town telling everyone that Gabbie told Jason she had herpes. So Gabbie just told one person, Trisha's boyfriend, but Trisha told the entire world because she then made a whole ass YouTube video on it.
She goes on to tell people she harasses me, she harasses me. How many videos have you made about me? You're truly the fakest bitch I've ever met.
Oh my god, I agree. Actually, it's a toss-up between Trisha Paytas and my psycho ex-roommate who tried to kill me. Also, Trisha blackmailed Gabbie DiMartino, which, fun fact, my psycho roommate did to me as well.
Also, you blackmailed Gabbie. That was so weird and sick, dude. You blackmailed her and you know you did.
And that was pretty much it for today's video. I really want to know what you guys think about this, so let me know in the comments down below. If you liked watching this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I post new videos every single day. Alright, bye.